My first time watching Angry Video Game Nerd was his Resident Evil Survivor video. Yes, I joined in late. It was still new at the time when I saw the video, so I soon found myself watching and enjoying AVGN for years. Though I'll agree, Season 1 through 5, I can say AVGN is just modern Simpsons of YouTubers, cause after Season 5, everything really went downhill.
I mean, this right here is the epitome of not even trying.
But after years of being told Survivor was a terrible game, and then seeing Gmanlives defend this game, I just had to play it for myself, especially because after the darkness, I just had to see if G-Man was wrong about Survivor as well. After tons of technical problems, and a few hours of my life wasted, it's time to finally talk about the so-called worst Resident Evil game. Which, given all that's out there these days, is kind of hard to agree with several garbage remakes, terrible mainline sequels, and failed attempts at PvP live services. Resident Evil has more than its fair share of garbage games. So enough, let's get into Resident Evil Survivor and talk about why it's not really deserving of its hate.
What? Resident Evil Survivor.
Resident Evil Survivor was developed by Toussaint and published by Capcom in the year 2000. Released for the PlayStation 1 during a time in which everyone was moving on to the PlayStation 2, this entry of the long-running and clearly ran into the ground once known for being a survival horror franchise turned into an identity crisis, took the classic formula, downgraded it, and placed it all within a full 3D first-person shooter. And it's, yeah.
What?
Vincent? It's me, your mother.
My mother?
Vincent, please, listen to your mother. I want you to leave Umbrella. I want you to stop performing those terrible crimes and just come back home.
This is gonna be a good game.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna spoil the plot because it's truly the worst plotline up until Resident Evil 4 to the latest shit game, Resident Evil 8. Seriously, everything here is just terrible. Play as Ark, who infiltrates an Umbrella facility for Leon, who then causes the place to burn down and attempts to escape Vincent, who is in charge of the island. The helicopter Ark takes crashes and he loses his memory. From then on, you explore the Sheena Island, coming across all kinds of B.O.W.s and a few different characters, though two of them are dependent on which path you take. You got the sewer guy, the leader guy, and then two kids. You eventually figure out who you are and attempt to escape the island before it explodes, because Resident Evil tradition dictates something must always explode in the end.
It can't be! Get down!
I've got some bikinis to try on after I finish the shower, so I hope you guys are excited for that.
At first, this game may appear intimidating, as it's a different perspective with a strange control layout. But once you start playing, you'll find Survivor isn't that hard to control. Outside of combat with fast-moving enemies, it's actually pretty decent. Just look at the PNG on screen. Now grab a controller and play around with it, mimicking this game's layout. It's not that bad now, is it?
Don't be afraid. I'm not going to hurt you.
Moving around is quite simple. Interacting with things requires you to just run into it, which is kind of awkward since you cannot move the camera up and down. So seeing signs and items can be a bit of pain at times, so you'll have to constantly move at different distances. Otherwise, its tank controls via first person, albeit less tankish than, say, Resident Evil 1.
No, I don't believe that. That's bullshit. There's no way.
Combat in of itself is pretty basic and button mashy. Press and hold R1 while looking in the direction of an enemy, then press X or triangle to shoot. Make sure your crosshair is on them and fire till they drop dead. Sometimes enemies will get back up. Just like the mainline games. If there's no blood underneath their bodies, they ain't dead, so keep shooting. Don't bother with aiming at certain spots. There's no criticals or weak points, so headshots are about as meaningful as blasting their feet or dicks. However, combat can be a pain at times, such as when dealing with fast-moving enemies like dogs, lickers, and hunters. And since when you get hit, you'll spin to face them, you'll end up turning to the enemy that hits you, causing you to have to re-aim and realign your crosshair to shoot them. It can be a very clunky mess. It's a real pain once you get cornered, and yes, you'll get cornered all of the time in Resident Evil Survivor.
I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. I'm sad that I lack the talent to make this shit up.
Wait, what? What the fuck? What the hell? What kind of fucking game is this?
Sadly, unlike in Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, there's not much reason to explore every nook and cranny within Survivor, as most rooms just contain an herb, let alone a ton of zombies, though exploring is kind of necessary just to figure out where to go. Though for my playthrough, I never really struggled on where to go. Everything was kind of obvious in a way. Just know not every room is worth the loading screen and getting ambushed by zombies that are right next to you out of view. Gotta hate that about this game. It loves putting zombies out of view to get you every time you enter a room. Plus, enemies respawn, so when you clear a room, it isn't lucrative because despite your handgun having infinite ammo, once you clear that room and you have to come back through it, the enemies just respawn. Fuck that. However, there are branching paths throughout Resident Evil Survivor. Though minor, it can lead to different encounters, supplies found, story cutscenes, and locations to see. You will still go through the same locations for the most part, however. Just look at the PNG on screen. Once you get the rusted key from the first zombie encounter, you'll have 3 choices. From there, you'll go to the streets, and then once again, 3 choices. I like this concept, as previously Resident Evil 1 and 2 featured some slight differences depending on your choices, more so in Resident Evil 1 than 2, though those were a bit more minor compared to 2's zapping system. Survivor attempted to give you something to add replay value. Hell, if you beat the game and save your progress, you'll keep all your weapons and ammo and herbs for the next playthrough. That way, if you want to attempt to get the infinite ammo rocket launcher via an S ranking on normal, it'll be more possible.
What the?
Die, Vincent! Die!
Dear God, there's a difference between cheesy, bad voice acting and just outright garbage voice acting. Outright garbage is akin to Dynasty Warriors 9 and Origins, but cheesy is Resident Evil 1 and Dynasty Warriors 3. Now where do you think Resident Evil Survivor falls into?
Lot!
I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
What are you talking about? It's not your fault. Vincent is the one who caused everything. Well, I mean,
You? What do you mean? You're the detective. Your name is Ark Thompson.
What? Really? I'm not Vincent? Then why did you run away from me?
Because I'm the one that told Vincent about you.
Hello, I'm Vincent. I've been transferred to this facility to inspect it.
Nice to meet you, sir.
I know Commander Vincent. So I knew that you weren't him when I saw you.
What? A spy? Thank you. You are a good boy, Lot.
So then I'm Ark.
Yeah, it's not hard to see it falls into the dog shit category. It's very inexcusable, because Resident Evil 2 and 3 came out before this game, which both feature way better voice acting than Survivor. And yes, one day we'll cover the original Resident Evil trilogy, plus updated reviews for Outbreak 1 and 2 and the 2 HD Chronicle games, but for now let's focus on Survivor.
Okay.
Unlike Resident Evil 2 and 3, Survivor lacks weapons. It's more akin to Resident Evil 1. You have your standard handgun, 3 variants called Handgun B, C, and D, then there's a revolver, shotgun, grenade gun, yes, it's not called grenade launcher for some reason, and then the classic rocket launcher, which is an S rank reward.
I promise.
That's it, and you'll easily miss out on most of these weapons if you don't look for them, as this along with herbs are basically all you'll be rewarded with for exploring Sheena Island. Lame.
Liar.
At least when it comes to resource management, this game is very easy, as you're given an infinite ammo pistol on both difficulties. Yes, this game only has 2 difficulties of easy and normal. Not much is different about them, so pick whichever you want. Anyways, your handgun is weak as shit and not very useful against most enemies. Even normal zombies have a RNG system in place where it can take over 15 rounds to down a single zombie, or just 2. Yeah, it's one of those kind of games. It kind of reminds me of Resident Evil 2 and 3 shitmake. That was very prominent in those shitty games as well. But unlike those 2 turds that are a prime example of how not to make a remake of a beloved classic akin to Final Fantasy VII shitmake, Survivor gives you unlimited ammo for your handguns, and thank God too, as ammo for the other guns is so rare, I can only imagine how impossible this game would be without an infinite ammo pea shooter.
I don't know. Should I say this or not?
When it comes to what B.O.W.s you'll face, it's your usual shtick of zombies, Cerberus, crows, chimeras, hunters, and ivies. Plus, you got variants of the chimera in the lab from Resident Evil 2. They brought back those giant spiders as well, because what Resident Evil game is complete without your average sized spider from Australia? But you also have one unique enemy to this game, those being Monkey Men B.O.W.s from Umbrella. You literally fight Umbrella soldiers that are actually zombies. These guys are a pain to say the least, and make animal roars when they get hit and die. Then there's the Tyrant from Resident Evil 2, but in larger quantity, as they'll become more common than zombies by the end of the game depending on which route you took during your playthrough really. They're so easy though, and sometimes drop ammo for your shotgun or grenade launcher, grenade gun, fucking stupid, making it lucrative to kill each encounter. Survivor is creatively bankrupt, so it's not surprising to see yet another asset flip enemy. The giant alligator returns, this time smaller than Resident Evil 2.
Can we use this alligator?
Sure.
She said okay!
Alligator!
But now, you got two of them, and this fight sucks.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Your last enemy will be the Tyrant, we got Resident Evil 1 Tyrant at home. He's a pushover like all enemies in this game, though I'll have to give credit to the hunters for being the most dangerous, especially in numbers. But Hypnos here? Bitch please, he's the worst. You're more likely to die to the Tyrant in Resident Evil 1 after he kills Wesker than this guy. You think puzzles in games today are bad? Well, go play Survivor, because in this game your puzzles are just find key in one room, walk into next, use key on locked door, rinse and repeat. There's nothing here to challenge you. It's on par with Resident Evil 2 shitmaking in terms of puzzles. That shitmake removed almost everything from the original game to appeal towards the casual filth, ruining gaming since the Nintendo Wii.
Based.
But to think that a PS1 era Resident Evil game could sink so low and be the inspiration of modern survival horror puzzles, it's truly baffling. The most complex puzzle in this game is the endurance on your psyche trying to put up with this game. Oh, and of course, being full 3D and have no quality control, this Resident Evil game has some questionable AI. Sometimes they'll just stand there, or they'll get stuck on 3D objects in the environment, or they'll just walk into each other, so not a single zombie can get to you. But you know what? I kinda like that jank. This game isn't good, so that stupid Bethesda NPC logic is very fitting here. Oh, and if you're wondering, are there ink ribbons and typewriters? Of course not, that would make sense. Instead, you can only save if you die or beat the game.
What?
Yeah, so enjoy playing through the whole game if you want to keep your progress. Oh, and your progress is just your inventory, not the actual in-game progress. But hey, it's only roughly 1 hour long. If you know what you're doing, it might be even shorter. Plus, I did play on normal difficulty, so yeah. Still, it's just a stupid idea to lock saving like that and to only save inventory stats. At that point, why even bother? Just so I can use the shotgun earlier in my next playthrough? It's just about as useful as the handgun. The shotgun in this game is garbage. Sadly, because this game is so old and the hardware isn't exactly viable in 2025, I had to emulate Survivor, which led to issues. Usually graphical glitches that were not your usual PS1 glitches. But worst of all, I had non-stop crashing, leading me to never get far in this game. I couldn't even complete it. It usually occurred once I got to the Umbrella facility. At this point, it was just random crashes galore. This sucks because at some points I was actually having fun and other times it was a slug. Truly a mixed bag. But once the game starts crapping out, I about gave up on playing this game.
Fuck it!
Thankfully, after about 4 attempts to play Resident Evil Survivor, it finally allowed me to complete a playthrough. So goddamn am I happy to say yes, I've beaten what many consider the worst Resident Evil game. Not sure if that's something worth boasting about. So, since we're now bitching about how bad the game is technically, let's also talk about the horrible soundtrack.
Please don't.
Whoever made this should be blacklisted from the games industry. You know, if they're even still alive given the time this game came out. There's not a single good song within Resident Evil Survivor. In fact, I'd say it's on par with Resident Evil 4 through 8 and, of course, Gaiden in terms of crappiness. So, Gmanlives was right about this one at the least, unlike the darkness. Resident Evil Survivor does get too much hate, but it's also heavily flawed. I didn't expect anything really worth talking about, yet that's not true. I had plenty of things to say, though most of it was negative. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about Survivor.
Tell me the truth!
At the end of the day, Resident Evil Survivor is a mediocre game, kind of worth playing. I wasn't expecting a terrible game, and I was surprised at first it wasn't that bad. Sure, the voice acting and plot was atrocious, not to mention the zombies spawning right next to you as you enter a room, and they will respawn after you come back. Not to mention the puzzles are so stupid, even those who ride a short bus could figure them out.
Stop!
But underneath that was a mediocre game that I did kind of enjoy. Then it just kept going. The pacing being terrible, the camera getting cornered by enemies, trying to actually hit the Cerberuses or the Lickers and the Hunters was a pain. The Gator fight was terrible. The lack of weapons and no exploration rewards made it even more boring too. Then the technical stuff kicked in around 30 minutes into my playthroughs. So fuck it, Resident Evil Survivor is just a bad game. Next up, we'll look at what Gmanlives said was a terrible game. that being Resident Evil Survivor 2 Code Veronica, which was released only in Europe and Japan for the PlayStation 2. Oh yeah, them European exclusives usually means one thing and one thing alone. It's terrible, but we'll have to wait and see.
What the fuck?
Anyways, that's it for this video. See you all later.
What are we gonna do, mister?
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
I don't know, but don't worry. We can fly as long as we have fuel.